Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This video I'm pretty much going to be telling you guys my testimony, telling you guys what happened to me. One of the major things that happened to me out of many that really devastated me and really had me down, because I know in my introduction video, if you watched it, I was rambling on about how down I was these past couple years and how I had really overcome and how I finally achieved peace. And so this video I'm going to summarize, try to make it as short as possible, what happened to me, what was so devastating that happened to me last year that had me so down, and what did I really overcome. There's a lot of things, but I'm really going to just focus on this one situation. This situation is really what took the cake for me, because after everything that I had went through with between 2012 to 2014, this was just it for me, and I was just like so done. And so pretty much I'm going to tell you guys what happened to me, and I'm going to tell you guys how I achieved peace. The tips that I'm going to give you guys is going to well prepare you to be able to handle situations that come your way, because situations are going to come, but you just have to be well equipped to handle them. Just stay tuned and keep watching this video to hear what I did and what I suggest that you guys do in the midst of your circumstances. So in 2014, I entered a class called Medical Surgical Nursing, as well as taking 2 other classes. Now, Med-Surg is really a course in nursing school that is just amped up to be one of the hardest courses that you will encounter in nursing school. And that's because this is a class where you learn everything. This is what prepares you to become a well-rounded nurse. Between Med-Surg 1 and Med-Surg 2, this is where you learn it all. So this class is really a lot to take on. And when I was entering the class, before the semester even started, when I had first enrolled, everybody was warning me, everybody was telling me how hard it was. I was hearing that all these people were failing or barely passing and all this stuff. And I was just like, okay, it's not going to be me. I promise you I'm going to do good. I'm going to pass this class with flying colors. I'm not going to struggle. I'm going to get out of here. I was really just trying to amp myself up and try to stay positive, because everybody was talking down to me so negatively, telling me how hard it was. And so when I went into the semester, and when I went into that class, I had tried to really prepare myself to be positive going into the class. But because everybody was being so negative in my ear, I had that in the back of my mind just ringing and replaying, you know, oh my God, this is a hard class. It's going to be hard. Prepare yourself, prepare yourself. So I really psyched myself out. This is a class where you really have to change and alter your study habits. What you do, how you study in patho, how you study in microbiology, how do you study in even psych nursing, foundations, any course you've taken before this class, it's really not going to fly when you take medical surgical nursing. Those classes, I really suggest that you alter your study habits and start to prepare yourself to be able to study for Adult Health Nursing 1, because it's a whole nother way of studying. And I'll actually make a video later on my study tips and methods that I did specifically for that class and in general. When I went into this class, I was studying how I would before, you know, kind of just reading to remember, not reading for application. So as the course was going, I was really realizing, like, okay, this class is really hard. It was really kicking my butt. I was failing tests or either barely passing them. So every time I would fail a test, I would, you know, go home and reevaluate, like, okay, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to fix? So I would try to study differently. I would try a new method. I would try a new technique. I would try a new location. If I was studying at home, I would go to the library. I was trying so many different things so I could figure out what worked, as well as trying to balance the other 2 classes that I had on top of clinicals. It was just so much for me. And so towards the middle/endish of the semester, I'm like, okay, I'm getting the hang of this now. You know, I was starting to finally realize how to study, what to study, where to study, what materials I needed to study, and it was paying off, because I was finally making higher scores on my tests. So by the time the end of the semester came, there was only 2 tests left, and my grade was a 63. So I was like, okay, I have to do exceptionally well on these last 2 tests, and I have to pass the HESI in order to pass the class. And the HESI is just a a test that every nursing student has to take at the end of the semester, and it's pretty much like a practice NCLEX, and the NCLEX is a board exam that you take after you graduate to become licensed as a registered nurse. So it's pretty much like a practice NCLEX. So if you pass the HESI is worth 5% of your grade in my program. And so if you pass the HESI, pretty much you can pass the class because it'll boost you 5%. So I was like, okay, all I have to do is make like, you know, B's, C's, B's on these next 2 tests and then pass the test and I'll be good. So I achieved that. Those last 2 tests, I passed them with, I think 1 C and 1 B. And I was like, okay, great. My grade was like a 65 at this point. So I'm like, perfect. 5%. All I need to do is pass the HESI. I'll be out of here. So as I was preparing for the HESI, I just spent all my time, months, just the whole last month of the semester, I was just in the library, just studying my butt off. Like I didn't even come up for air. That's what I feel like. Like I was just studying. I shut out the world. I shut out my friends. I really shut out my family. This is all what not to do. But this is what I was doing at the time. I had shut everybody out. And I was just really preparing myself for this HESI because I just had so much pressure on me. I just felt like, okay, if I don't pass this class, then it's over. Like I'm going to fail. So the day of the HESI, I just felt so prepared. Where I went wrong is I had put so much pressure on myself, telling myself that if I didn't pass this test, I wasn't going to pass this class. And the way that my program is set up is only 2 enrollment semesters, and so certain classes are only offered once a semester, and a course like medical surgical nursing, you can't take any other courses until you pass that course. And so I was like, okay, if I don't pass this class, Zenobia, you're going to be here a whole nother year. So I went into the HESI with all that pressure, all that weight on my shoulders, and unfortunately I ended up failing. And because I failed the HESI, I ended up failing the course, and I was just devastated because all the stuff that had happened to me prior to that situation just had me completely ready to get out of Tuskegee, completely ready to just change locations. I just wanted to move on with my life. After failing that class and going into the winter break knowing that I'm going to be here a whole nother year, I was just completely devastated. Like there was nothing nobody could say to me that was going to cheer me up. I didn't want to hear from anybody. I just wanted to go in a shell and just cry my life away because I was just so devastated. So that's pretty much what happened to me. Now you may ask, what did I do to overcome this? What did I do to finally be at peace with this? And surprisingly, I got over it really fast. So this is pretty much what I did. I began to just pray, and I spent a lot of time with God, and I spent a lot of time with myself. I spent a lot of alone time. I went out to eat by myself. I went on walks by myself. I just spent a lot of time by myself. And as I was spending time by myself, I just started to realize, like, really, I can be getting over this right now, but because I'm viewing this situation so bad, it's causing me to delay my happiness. Like I'm prolonging being happy because I'm spending so much time being sad. And that's just a thought that had came across my mind. Know that that's the right thing to do, is to know, being down is only going to prolong your situation. But really meditate on that thought. Really think about that. You really want to be feeling the way that you're feeling right now this long. And so thank goodness this happened to me at the end of the year, right before 2015. So I really spent time thinking like, okay, am I going to enter 2015 the same way I left it? Am I going to add a whole nother year of being depressed and down? So these are just random thoughts that were going through my head as I was spending a lot of time with myself and with God. At this point, I want to start taking action. I wanted to start doing things to try to pull myself out of it because of course I had my family, thank God, as my support system. They knew how much I tried and how much effort I put into passing that class. So, just knowing that I didn't disappoint them was a help. But for me, for myself, let's say I didn't have that support system. I had to be my own support system. And so that's another thought that I meditated on. What if I didn't have anybody here what if my parents disowned me? What if my parents really just could not stand me because I failed this class? So this is when I took things into my own hands and I started to put my thoughts into action. The first thing that I did, and this is one thing that really helps, and I would suggest this to everybody that's in a funk, anybody that's going through any circumstances or multiple circumstances, or who has just been down for a very long time. Make a list of everything that's been downing you. Make a list of everything that's bothering you, that you feel is hindering you from progressing to getting to your destiny or getting to your happiness. And when I say make a list, I mean anything. You could put people on the list, emotions on the list, emotions that you don't want to feel. If a picture is in your room and every time you look at that picture it irritates you and you feel like that's one little small aspect that's hindering you from being happy, put that on your list to take that picture down. Any problem that you think is hindering you from being completely and utterly happy with yourself, then put that on your list. Once you make that list, go through the list and look at the things that you think are changeable or aren't changeable. First find the things that you don't think that you can change, things that are out of your control. For instance, for me, failing this class was out of my control. There was nothing I could do to change it. All I had to do was work with it and move on and try to come back from it and make a plan B. So I put that on my list as something that was unchangeable, something that was out of my control. Next to the things that are changeable on your list, you want to write next to them what you want differently out of that situation. What about that situation do you want to change? When you make this list, keep it with you. Put it on your wall. Make copies of it. Just place one everywhere to where when you walk by it, you can see it. So it'll be a constant reminder to yourself. This is what I'm doing to work on the new me. All these things that are crossed off my list need to stay behind, and everything that I put that I wanted to change is what's going to be in my future. But you have to really meditate on that list and keep reminding yourself that this is the new you. You just made an outline of who you want yourself to be and what you're going to have to change in order to become that new person. Old habits die hard, and you have to do something different to get different results. So if you continue doing what you were doing when you were unhappy, you're going to continue to be unhappy. Change and happiness is in the unknown. So if you continue to walk in fear of the unknown or continue to walk with what you were doing before because it was comfortable, it's what you were accustomed to, you're never going to find that happiness. You have to take a leap. You have to jump outside of what you're accustomed to. So really meditating on your list, praying, talking to yourself. It's okay to talk to yourself, really. I do it all the time. Talking to somebody that you trust, talking to somebody that you love, and really just meditating on your situation, meditating on your list, you will persevere. And that's where the term perseverance comes in. How do you deal with the stressors that come your way, that are going to come your way in the future? How do you handle stressors as a new you? So here's some ways that I handled my stress and that I would suggest to you to handle your stress and to even prevent stress. Stressors are preventable. Even though they come your way, there's some stressors that you are in control of. So again, you want to make a list. Making a list helps in pretty much every situation. But you want to make a list of your stressors, make a list of everything that's stressing you out, and you want to cross off the ones that are relevant. Do you need to be stressing about this right now? Do you need to be stressing about loans and you don't graduate until 2 years from now or 3 years from now? Is that something that you need to be stressing over right now? Make a list of everything that's stressing you out and see what is in your control at this moment and what do you need to be worried about right now? Because sometimes we take on the load of so much. We just pile up everything. We think about the future so much that we allow all those thoughts to just weigh on our shoulders, and they add to the stress that we're already going through. Another suggestion that I have is do not procrastinate. The hardest part is getting started, but once you get that momentum, everything else flows easy. But procrastinating can cause so much stress because it's just weighing on your mind. It's just lingering in the back of your mind like, oh my God, this is something that I have to do. On top of everything else that I have, this is something that I have to do. And it's just lingering and just causing stress on top of stress. And it's unnecessary and you could prevent it. So do not procrastinate. And along with that, I would suggest making daily to-do lists. A lot of people make to-do lists for the week, but a lot of times different things can happen and it can throw our weekly to-do list off. So I suggest making a daily to-do list because that's more in your control. Make a daily to-do list and that'll help keep you organized, keep your thoughts organized so that your thoughts won't be rambled all over the place because that can add to stress too. and you can just really stay on track. Another one of my suggestions is to stop complaining. There's always something to be thankful for. And again, you want to make another list because this might help. Make a list of everything that you're thankful for. The suggestion that I have is to continue to reevaluate yourself, continue to self-meditate. Life circumstances can throw you off track, and what you had set as plans for yourself can really be thrown off easily. It can be thrown off in a day. So you want to just take the time to yourself daily, as much as possible, to really just keep reevaluating yourself. Ask yourself, are you meeting these goals that you have set? Are you making those changes that you promised yourself? My last bit of advice, and this is really the biggest thing, reward yourself. You guys put so much stress on yourselves. I know I did. I put so much pressure on myself, and I spent so much time trying to meet my goals that I was never rewarding myself. Even when you weren't happy with what happened, even when you weren't happy with your circumstance or happy with the way that you performed or what you did, reward yourself because you are worth it. As long as you know that you did everything you could to change your situation or to reach your goal or whatever the circumstance might be, reward yourself. Taking yourself out to lunch, going to the bowling alley by yourself, going shopping, doing some online shopping, whatever it may be that makes you happy, reward yourself, because you have to have that time of pleasure along with your quote-unquote pain. Hopefully my suggestions will bring you guys to peace. Being okay with the things that are out of your control, changing the things that are in your control, setting goals for yourself and working towards your goals, but rewarding yourself along the way, not dragging yourself down or beating yourself up when you don't accomplish something, because you can do it and you will do it. It takes patience and it takes perseverance and it takes persistence. Keep on doing it no matter what holds you back. Circumstances and hard times are going to continue to come, but you have to really prepare yourself. You have to build yourself up to be a weapon for all these bullets that are going to be thrown at you. Regardless of what is thrown your way, stay faithful that you will achieve what you have set out for yourself and you will achieve peace. So thank you guys for watching and stay tuned for my next video. Bye.
Makes no difference what you're going through.